The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com
We were on the break!
with Ambar Garcia, Brian Broaddus, Patrick Walker, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Tuesday, October 24th, 2023, season 19, episode number 55. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. We are through with our mashup week, and I got my normal crew back here with me. Got Brian Broaddus, Patrick Walker. Amber may or may not be joining us, but we're gonna hold it down. We got three voices here that can give you guys some good opinions. We got some things we can hit today, and we're gonna start first with Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones was on with our sister station here this morning in the local market, 105.3 The Fan. Sean and RJ and Bobby. So I hate that they don't give Bobby his love. Give Bobby his love.
On the moniker.
And Bobby. And they had you might as well give Peyton some love too. But anyway.
Peyton's a good dude.
He was on with them this morning. Excuse me. A couple quotes that I have from him that I want to get some reaction from you guys. The first quote that I thought was interesting, he was talking about the trade deadline.
Yeah, I knew you were going here.
Yeah.
Oh,
and his quote was, I would really extend to improve our team right now because I think we have a team that's a contender.
Yeah.
That was interesting to me. Now, he also went on to say, and I don't have the quote in front of me, but he went on to say that it has to come from the other team. Yeah. And if you know Jerry, I know Sean dived into the question, which he should have. It was a great follow-up question. Yeah. So why is that the case? Right. If you know Jerry, you've heard this year after year after year. It's negotiating power. He thinks of it as like if he's the one making the phone call, he loses his leverage. Mm-hmm. If someone else is making the phone call, they're calling and they are in a compromised negotiating position. That's the way he looks at negotiations. Right. And so that's why he does it that way. I guess my question for you guys is just react to his statements, not only about kind of how he looks at it, but also the fact that he says he's willing to extend himself a little bit. And what are your thoughts there?
I think it's exactly what you said. And I had this conversation right before the show with Nick Harris, and he was, asking if I thought it was a leverage situation. And I do, because, Jerry Jones, the consummate deal maker, the consummate businessman and entrepreneur, he doesn't want to show any kind of weakness to potential, suitors and those that he's going to have conversations with. So that completely makes sense, and we're accustomed to that. But I think it's also true that this Cowboys roster is price versus pressure. So if you look back a few years ago, the wide receiver by committee situation failed miserably, and it was the same Jerry Jones where, you're going to have to call me, you're going to have to call me, but didn't blink when it came time to toss a first-round pick onto the table for the Raiders to get Amari Cooper. Now you fast forward. Now, if you lose Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland isn't able to step into that role, and or Jordan Lewis isn't completely back physically. If you lose LVE and then you don't see Marquise Bell play out of his mind against Los Angeles and Damone Clark step up, if when you were down 3 offensive line starters, if those young guys didn't step in and show they could do something, I say all of that to say I think the Cowboys feel comfortable with where they are roster-wise. Could they stand to upgrade? Absolutely, at certain positions, but they're not pressed to do so. So I don't think, while I agree that Jerry Jones is using it as leverage, I really think there's also truth in the fact that he just doesn't feel pressed to make that move right now. So it probably will have to be someone calling him. I think they're going to call out and put feelers and things like that. But as far as the price goes, it has to be something that is palatable for them. They're not giving a first-round pick away for anybody based on the needs or lack thereof of this current roster.
I miss reckless Jerry Jones. I miss the guy I worked for when he just would go out and say,
some of the Deion Sanders energy.
We're going to do this. We're going to give 2. Haley. We're going to give 2 for Joey Galloway. I don't care. We'll throw in an extra 6 to get it tied.
But then you get a Roy Williams wide receiver.
But that's that. You know what? To me, that's part of it. And you know what? And I say that if he had Will McClay in this pro department instead of me sitting in that chair, he might have been better off. He might have been better off. The times where we talk about a Roy Williams or a Joey Galloway or one of those times, maybe we misevaluated those guys. Not maybe, we did. I mean, we paid too much for those guys. Mm-hmm. But if you have a current group of pro scouts, college scouts, the expertise of Will McClay here, Jerry Jones has a right to stand at that table and hold those dice. With me, pushing the chips in there might have been a little bit more of, maybe a little bit more of a gamble. But you have a department that knows what the hell they're doing. And to me, I miss that evaluate. I miss him stepping up and saying, we've got to get better here. And I'm not asking to be a reactionary to what the Philadelphia Eagles did with going to get, because, there's things with Bayard that are, he's a good player. He's not what he was 5 years ago. He's okay in the run. He's good in coverage. Those are things that'll help Philadelphia. But I would like to see Jerry Jones, if the pro department comes to him with names and says, boss, we can do it with this guy, or we could shore up this problem, or we can add this corner here. I think he's better equipped than he was 25 years ago with me sitting in that chair. And so I would take the gamble if I'm Jerry Jones. And I understand physical responsibility and how much we love the draft and all that. But this NFC is wide damn open right now. Mm-hmm. You look at what's going on in San Francisco. They're starting to get banged up. Minnesota, there's some teams that are started off poorly that are probably going to play some better football. You got to be ready for when that happens. This conference is for the taking. This Super Bowl run is for the taking. Look what's happening in Buffalo. Look what's happening in some of these other teams. 1-5 teams finding a way to beat teams that are playoff ready. If I'm Jerry Jones, 80 years old Jerry Jones, I'm not waiting for anybody. He always says it himself.
Doesn't have time.
I don't have time for a good time. I need to get this thing done now. And if it puts Steven and Will and those guys in kind of a bad position, we got to do something here. And I'm not saying it out of desperation. I'm saying it as I miss the days of Jerry Jones just saying, the hell with it. Let's go get this guy and see what happens.
Yeah, the way I look at it, I think I agree with both of you guys. And I think from the standpoint of you almost want to see Jerry just say, and it goes to his point, I think this is actually what he's saying. He's saying, I'd really extend myself because I think I got a really good team.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see him push all the chips into the table.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see him say, if you see the right player out there,
right?
And I'm going to ask you guys this question in a second, but if you see the right player out there, whatever the position is that you feel like, man, if we get this guy, it puts us over the top, and you got to spend the first rounder for him, spend the first rounder. Right. I think you've got a team that's right there on the cusp, and like you said, the NFC is there for the taking, but right now, I think most people would believe you're a little bit beyond, and that's actually, we'll get to another quote that Jerry had, they're a little bit below where maybe the 49ers or the Eagles are right now. Mm-hmm. Is there that player out there that can push you over the top? And that's kind of where you want to see Jerry back up those words and say, okay, extend yourself. Let's go get that guy.
And I think for me, what lessens it a little bit is having seen them in the same offseason go out and get a guy like Gilmore, go out and get a guy like Brandon Cooks, and you did it in the same offseason. That's not something that we've kind of seen in these past several offseasons. So it shows that there is, the willingness for Jerry to go out there and say, you know what, I'm going to address this and this. Now, again, could it still, could they stand to upgrade the roster at certain spots as far as going OD with it, just overdosing and saying, okay, even though we have this, this, and this, and this guy's working out well, and this guy's working out well, but they're not that guy, which is kind of leading to your question. Yeah, you could always go out there and do that. Question being, how comfortable is a team that drafts so well and puts so much stock into drafting, having already given up a fifth, a fourth, right? So that comes into the conversation as well. So I'm curious as far as what you think they would have that conversation.
I love fishing. I love fishing more than anything. And every time I fish, I throw something really big out there, and I hope that a 14 or 15 pound bass jumps on that lure. But I throw something really big, because I'm trying to catch a big damn fish. I'm trying to find a way to win this division. I'm trying to find a way to win the conference. I'm trying to find a way to get to the Super Bowl with the team I currently have. So I'm feeling like, I'm not worried about a 4 or 5 and a 6. I'm not worrying about those picks.
Yeah, come on.
I'm not. I'm going to throw. If the right players out there, all I'm asking is Stephen Jones allow Jerry the latitude that if the pro department comes to him and says, "Boss, we got a call on this." They called us on this. Or maybe you're fishing. Maybe you're going to throw the chum in the water and try and get the big fish here. Maybe you're calling somebody that might be, you're hearing some whispers that they're interested in moving on from a guy. It never hurts to pick up the phone and make that call. I know Jerry says from point of leverage, but he's got a chance to, if they identify the right guy or two, it could put this team into a great
OD,
position going.
yeah,
You know,
OD.
and I use, for example, the team that just here in Dallas that just got to the World Series, the Texas Rangers. Chris Young, the general manager, made 2 huge deals right at the trade deadline. You know, he went out and got Montgomery, and he went out and got Scherzer. Scherzer got nicked up. You know, that's unfortunate. He's trying to pitch his way back. But Montgomery has pitched so well in the playoffs, it's got them to the World Series. The Rangers didn't have that before the trade deadline. You know, sometimes you just have to say, damn it, we're going to go do this.
Push them all in.
And, you know, nobody will fault. Nobody fault. Now, if you want to fault what we did in the early 2000s, absolutely. Absolutely, you know, gave up some pick. Maybe identified the wrong guy. Maybe Roy Williams didn't work out. Maybe Joe Galloway didn't work out. Maybe Amari Cooper didn't work out like you thought. But you know what? Damn it, we tried.
Yeah,
we tried to make a difference here.
Amari
And,
worked out.
and that's I'm just saying. Well, to them, it became personal.
Yeah.
It became personal
yeah.
there, and we all understand that.
I'm just saying that in the capacity of
and
he
that's fine.
definitely worked out. They scouted him well.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You're better equipped to go and identify players now than you were 25 years ago when Jerry was just throwing the dice at the table.
Yeah, I will say this. Over the last 2 years, they've actually gotten some players in trades that have been players for their team. Listen to the last 5. You had Cooks, you had Gilmore, you had Hankins, you had Trey Lance here recently, and you had Igbenogany. Now, obviously, with Igbenogany, that was a toss-up.
That was a swap.
Yeah, you're getting rid of your guy that wasn't working for a guy that wasn't working to see if one of y'all could figure it out and make it work. So you take that as you take it. But you look at those other guys, and those are the kinds of trades that we had seen Philly traditionally do.
Right.
Those kinds of trades where it's like, it's a good timing. The guy may not be at the top, but he's still pretty doggone good. He can add something to our team. I think the difference is Philly has also done those deals like the A.J. Brown deal, where they gave up significant capital to go get a guy that is in his prime, right? That's where I'm like, if Dallas can identify that kind of player right now, a guy that's in his prime that you're willing to spend that first rounder on, he can help you now, but he's also going to help you down the road as well. Yeah, that's the kind of move I would love to see them make.
But then I was going to say this to that point, stepping into the role of devil's advocate. If a guy's in his prime, then you have to look at contractually when is he coming due? Because in-house, you have some horses coming due. You got CeeDee Lamb coming due. You got Micah Parsons coming due. You're likely going to give this extension to Dak, another extension to Dak Prescott. You got some hogs coming due. So if a guy is in his prime, and there are a couple of names that are floating around in my head, but yeah, you grab those guys, and that's wonderful because you got to go. I'm with you 100%, Brian. Seize the moment. Seize the moment because these moments.
Well, that's their motto. That's
Carpe omnia. Seize everything. Seize the moment. So I'm with you on that. Go do it. Yeah. But I'm saying as far as laying out all the variables of the conversation, that's another variable of it. Saying, okay, you go and you give up this, premium capital and premium compensation for this guy. You better, if you do it, you better make sure you're able to keep that guy and pay that guy and the guys that have proven that they deserve to be paid in-house as well.
Yeah. I'm willing to even accept, and I know it's easy for me to say because it ain't my money, but I'm willing to accept the fact that I might put myself in a little bit of a cap strapped situation down the line.
Always a way
because I look at my team right now and I'm like, man, I don't know that I'm gonna have a better shot than I have right now.
Or you could go full LA Rams.
I'm gonna go push all the chips in and see what happens. And as you said, Brian, if it doesn't work, at least I didn't go down. I went down swinging, right?
I think fans would appreciate the fact that you gave it a go.
Yeah.
It's better. The fans do not want you to sit there and not do anything when you realize that maybe you have an opportunity. Everybody's looking at these games. They're watching. They don't see dominant teams playing in the National Football League. I'll say this, and I'll remind you, I think we're going up on the year of when the 49ers made the trade for Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What did they do? They sat there and looked at Christian McCaffrey, and they're going, this guy's often hurt. He's going to miss 6-7 games. He didn't miss anything. Guy's playing with an oblique problem. And if he was in Carolina, he would have missed 6 weeks with that. But he goes to San Francisco, and now he's scored 16 consecutive games with a touchdown.
Yep.
Those are the kinds of trades when you can identify what you need, the type of player, the compensation, and make it work.
Right.
That's all you, as a fan, that's all you can ask for
and
from
those
this
guys are out
organization.
there.
Nobody cares about your cap problems. Nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody cares. They want you to win games. They want you to compete for playoff wins and championships and stuff. They don't have time to hear you like, well, we've got these players, and no offense, Patrick, I don't want to hear about paying Dak or paying these guys. I know it's part of the game, but teams figure it out every damn day. We thought Philadelphia was going to be just demoralized in their cap situation. They went out and re-signed all their guys.
Right.
I don't want to hear about the cap problems for any teams anymore. You figure it out. There's teams, the Packers are awful right now. You know why? They're carrying $48 million of dead cap. Fine. But they got rid of Aaron Rodgers, and they're learning about their quarterback. And if they're bad enough, they'll draft a quarterback in this draft.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about cap problems and financial, physical responsibility. I want to hear about wins and going forward and making this thing work when you have a chance to put this thing to bed.
And I want to be clear, and no offense to me because I'm not taking offense because we're actually on the same page here. I'm on record all over the place as saying I don't really care about cap. I think cap is a myth for the most part because when you look at the Drew Brees years in New Orleans, right? Cap magic. Every year they just figure out a way to manipulate the cap. There's always a way to manipulate the cap. I'm just simply saying as far as the Cowboys mindset, you can 100% believe that they're upstairs having that part of the conversation. So I agree with you.
No.
I'm simply saying from the fans that are listening, you just got to know if you're wondering what's the conversation upstairs, that's part of the conversation.
No, they hate what I'm saying right now. They absolutely. I'm going to get a text after somebody listens to this, and they're going to tell me you're full of S right now, Brian. Yeah. But you know what?
They're going to say the cap's a real thing. And by the way, for them, it absolutely is.
It is a real thing. And they talk about spreadsheets and projecting out and who you have to pay and all that. But there's also a time where you have to. I'm not worried about 2027. Yeah. I'll be sitting at the lake house in 2027 You can
2029. Give me
you
a
can
couple
worry.
more
You can
years.
worry. You can worry. Well, Bennett gets out of school.
I need a couple more years. Right?
I'm saying, but that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I think fans are that way right now. They don't want to hear about your cap problems. They don't want to hear about who you're going to sign. That's one of the great things about it is they've done a great job of drafting, and they'll always let you draft. Even if you have cap problems, they're going to let you draft. They're not taking drafts away from you. You could find a way to go get young players. If you have to get rid of veteran guys that cost you millions and millions of dollars, you could find a younger player like a Tyler Smith to play tackle for you.
Yeah.
And you can move on from guys.
That reminds me of it was actually a pretty fun and interesting conversation and debate that was held within Cowboys Nation on Twitter, I want to say a few months ago, where
when was this?
Well, no, I'm going to this was I know it's rare.
I'm using
rare.
Yeah, I'm using a toxic fight with somebody.
But I was sitting there and I just happened to be scrolling the timeline and I saw somebody pose a very good question. And the question was, if you had to go through the arc that the LA Rams are going through, which is you throw everything at the wall and you get this, are you then going to be understanding and know that once you do that, you're probably going to rebuild in a couple years thereafter, and you're going to go through the rebuilding process. How long would your rope be? Where's your patience at in that capacity? So the question wasn't would you be
30 damn years.
Yeah,
I was in my 20s actually take that back. I was in my 30s the last time this team won a Super Bowl or went to an NFC championship game. I'm 59 years old now.
No. The question wasn't would you trade one for the other. The question was be honest with yourself.
Yes.
How patient would you be during the rebuilding process?
Let me tell you how patient I would be.
Not as well as they draft well here.
Let me tell you how patient I would be. When I got to the Dallas Cowboys, the Cowboys were coming off of it was 1999.
Oh yeah.
So I went through 3 back-to-back 5-11 seasons with Campo. Right?
That's mine.
I will tell you this: if you tell me what's your patience level, I would go if they could promise a championship this year. If they're going to go all in and it gets them a championship for the next 10 years of my career, I'm good.
So 10
if
is
we're
your
at
window.
5-11.
That was the question.
15,
the question is what's your window?
20.
Yeah,
you tell me. I won't be around for all those years. What I'm saying is that 1 year when you get to have that magical ride, look at it right now.
Yeah.
Like you look at, I was watching last night Rangers fans on social media.
Yes.
The elation, the joy.
100%.
Like as a fan, and 100%. I remember in 2005 when the Longhorns won the national championship. There is, as a fan, there is nothing better
I get it.
than when your
my Braves,
team
my dogs, I get it.
goes all the way to the top
Stop
and
bragging.
wins. It is.
Well, I can't brag this year. Y'all got it.
Y'all got LSU. Y'all get plenty of them.
Y'all got it.
I'm not worried about you. You get plenty of yours. But I'm just saying, like when your team can do that, it is just the feeling is unlike any other when it comes to sports fandom.
Yeah.
And that's why I say for most fans, I'm not gonna say all, but I would say for the vast majority of fans, they would be like, you tell me how many years we got to go without for another
So, yeah,
championship,
that was the question.
I will go without.
The question was, what's your window?
By the
Yours
way,
is 10.
By the way, I don't care. I said it could be 15. It can be 20. I'm saying you tell me. It can be unlimited.
Yeah.
I just want that one. I want
I
that
get
one opportunity working in this building to go all the way to a championship.
Yeah, no,
That's
we
what I
all
want.
want it. It was just an interesting question on Twitter because the question was, what's your window? What's your window after if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl right now and we're feeling good? What's your window? Is it 2 years after you win the Super Bowl, 5, 10, 15, where you're still good with that particular
Look,
Super Bowl?
me and Brian are over 50,
Mine
so
was
we're
only
like, it doesn't have to happen
no,
ever again in our lifetime. We just want that one.
Yeah,
we
we
want that one
I was on
opportunity.
No, mine was like 2 to 3 years. I start itching again after a couple of years. I'm like, okay, we got to
hear
get
you,
back.
that's fine.
We got to get back.
I
Like,
was on the
this is where we
Super
are.
Bowl winning team in '96. I think we got a 30-year reunion coming up here pretty soon for that thing. But that's what
Because it lives on forever, right?
It lives on forever, but the thing about it, as a fan, you just want the one opportunity. There's a fan base. There's a group of Cowboy fans around the world
Who've never seen it.
They've never seen this.
Never seen it.
They've never seen how great you were in the early '90s. Trust me, I got my ass kicked plenty of times by that team. Those were great football teams.
Yeah.
You know, you would do anything. And that's where I
We all
thought Jerry
want it.
Jones. I thought Jerry Jones was at that point right now, and maybe he still is. But maybe there's people up there that are not like as nuts and crazy like I am, trying to just will this thing to go make a move. And I'm not saying it has to be the right move.
Right.
It has to be.
Right.
But I trust their pro department more than what I trust myself 20 some odd years ago when we were trading guys
I'll
for
tell you
first
this.
round picks.
My personal thought is I think he is thinking like that. I think that's where that comment came from. But I also know Jerry, the negotiator.
Yeah.
He can't say that publicly. He can't tell people how desperate he is. And I say that desperate not in a bad way, but in a way of if he sees the right opportunity, I don't think there's a limit to how much he's willing to go.
I think
to get that guy in if he sees the right opportunity.
Jerry is really good at listening, and I think if Will and Henry Stroka and those guys in the pro department and all those Alex Loomis, those guys come forward and say, "Boss, we got this guy. We got this guy. We can maybe we can work this out." I think Jerry would say, "Damn it, if we feel that good about it, let's go."
He'd be like,
agree.
open it up,
I've
open the
sat in
checkbook,
that-
and let's go. Yeah.
I've sat in that
agree.
room with him. He's looked at everybody and said, "Let's go. Let's go." And everybody's like, "Yeah, let's go." You know, but. It has to be the right guy. It has to be the one that can make the difference. But anything, you're just giving your fan base a reason to say they're committed. They're committed right now to trying. But you know what? It looks like that team in Philadelphia is a little bit more committed than you right now. A little bit more, trying to go out. And I'm not saying Kevin Byard's going to be a huge get for them, but it looks like that they're a 6-1 team that's trying to get a little
the
better.
optics of it,
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to hear Amber's opinion on this. I'm sure that's going to take the next segment, and then we'll get to some lab code in the final segment. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Cowboys fans, after that move, we've just coined the term Rowdy Replay. Let's roll back the tape.
Okay, there's our mascot Rowdy cheering on the boys. And now he's on his phone, on his Bank of America mobile banking app?
Staying on top of his finances with his virtual financial assistant, Erica.
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive. Cowboys fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/can't-stop-banking.
Erica is only available in the English language. You must download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Member FDIC.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time. But what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
to the break.
Hey, how about this one? The Salvation Army's 27th annual Red Kettle Kickoff returns to AT&T Stadium this Thanksgiving. Get excited to watch the one and only Dolly Parton, man, she's from my era, rock the stage during the halftime when your Dallas Cowboys go head to head with the Washington Commanders. Tune in at 3:30 p.m. on CBS.
Welcome back.
You sing it, Jolene.
I love Jolene. That song is awesome.
Yeah,
I love that song.
On the radio, we talked
That's
about.
really the only one I know that she does that I actually love. But
9
I love
to 5.
Well, yeah, that one's kind of that's so commercial. But I love Jolene. Like I love that song.
Jolene's a pretty song.
It is a great song.
It's kind of a sad song too. But the other day on the radio, we were talking about it. Lucius called it Darlene. He goes, "Yeah, didn't you do the song called Darlene?" I said, Jolene. And he goes, right.
All right, welcome back. It is the second
She's a
segment
hell
of
of a
break.
performer.
Live
She
from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the start of this segment, brought to you by blockchain.com. And joining the show right now, Miss Amber Garcia, who is making us all feel horrible because she went out today and she's been serving the community. Serving the community out there.
Got rained on, hard labor, made a difference today. Saw some kids smile. No, it was fun. Actually, Sam Williams.
Yeah, I heard Sam was out there. Yeah.
He was helping. He actually did some tough work too. So
way to go,
Sam. Did you trick him into doing your job? That's the key.
No, everyone pulled their weight. Everybody was out there sweating, and then we got showered with rain. So
well, you had a cool off. That's perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, sure. After I got my hair done this morning.
One way to
you did? Nothing like working at the end of October and it's 90 degrees outside.
There you
right?
go.
Yeah.
That's Texas. Hey, real quick before we move on, I did want to give you an opportunity to chime in on that. Patrick set up this really interesting question of what would be your window that you would be okay the Cowboys not being very good if they can get a championship. If they mortgaged the future and got a championship, what's that window that you give them kind of a green light that it's okay that you're not going to be very good?
What was your time?
2 years.
2 years?
We got to get back.
I think I joined in towards the end and I heard your opinion.
I was like, whatever.
Derek, and I heard Brian. Hey, I'm with you guys. I'm not as old. But I sure experienced
shot. Like pew,
well,
straight.
Right.
I sure experienced life
wrong,
like you guys, though.
Yeah.
It's my
Fair enough.
Backhanded comp. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no. I mean, again, most people that have been listening to the show or following me know already that I started following the NFL as soon as I started working with the Cowboys. I wasn't very aware of the sport really or know anything about it. And as soon as I got into it, started understanding it and being a part of it and covering the team.
Winning all those awards.
But year 2, remember, this is around the time that Tony got hurt and we were going through quarterbacks and all of that. So I'm experiencing that, and that's what I think the game is. It's just part of the game, you know? And as we progress and go year after year, and now I'm sitting here in like around year 10, I'm like, oh my God. Like, how do fans from when the last time they won have been able to absorb and deal with this for so long, because this is very stressful and I absolutely hate it. And we go through it, through all the emotions, and every year when it ends, okay, you're upset, you're mad, whatever, and then you start back up, think there is new hope, go through the training camp, see new things, which this year, I was like, I'm not going to be naive and allow myself to go through that. But I really thought starting out the season, we had everything in place. The only thing, kicker.
And
go figure that.
How'd that work out?
Yeah, exactly. The only one constant.
As soon as you think you know something in the NFL,
you don't.
The NFL tricks you, yeah.
So it's just one of those things that I will be more than happy if it happens once.
If it happens this year, what's your window?
Yes, because I'm running out of time.
What's your window?
You never know what tomorrow brings. So it better happen this year, and I'm waiting for it. My window is, I don't care. Let me just go to a parade once and experience that, because it's different.
So then are you set for like the next 15, 20?
Sure.
Like,
whatever.
I got it.
So you're right there with me.
I got it.
Let my kid in the future experience
We all
that.
agree we want it right now, but after, knock on wood, we get it right now. 2025, I'm going to start itching again.
Hey man,
I'm like,
that'd be
yeah,
great.
yeah.
That'd be great. But all I'm saying is, I'm
is-
not going to be like, if that's the cost. If the cost is that I may never see another one in my lifetime, at least I got to see that one, and
Fair
I got
enough.
to experience that one. That's my point.
Fair enough.
Is I just want that one because in the NFL. It is extremely different. There are franchises. You talk about the Cowboys having a drought. There are franchises that never won a Super Bowl.
Full drought.
Ever.
From inception.
So if you're fans of those teams, and some of those have been around as long, if not longer, than the Cowboys. So if you're one of those teams,
Yeah.
you've never, ever, your parents never experienced, your grandparents never experienced it. I just want to experience it once because I wasn't a Cowboys fan until I started working here. I was an Oilers fan until Oilers left Houston, right? So for me, and the Oilers are one of those franchises.
They are one.
We had never won a championship.
They knocked on the door a bunch.
We had never won. Look, don't get me started on the Buffalo game.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that. But yeah, that's where I'm like, I just want to experience it one time. So I don't care what I got to give up.
It's also different for us. I mean, that work here. You know, you want to experience this while you're working here, while you're covering the team. I'm not saying, oh, we're going to quit as soon after they finish, but you just never know. We've seen, since I started working here, we've seen how many people come and go, and I've been long enough with you guys to where we've seen all those changes in different positions. So you do want to, it's obviously a very different experience getting there while working and covering the team and being there and in person versus just watching on TV as a fan, which that's amazing too. But also from our perspective, when you know all the people that have been putting in the work and have been working hard and all the shuffling around for years after years, I'm good with one, Patrick. It's a big ring.
I just know my listen, all I know is my window ain't 28. I'm dying here. Let's do it. Let's run. Let's go.
All right, real quick. I did want to get a question from Twitter. We got a question from TM. He says, "Does the inconsistency around the league increase your hopes for a Super Bowl glory? Seems as if you can get to the playoffs, there's a fighting chance."
Yes. Yeah. And that's the beautiful part of the NFL. And that's where the beauty of parity comes into play. And I mean, you see the Cowboys, get destroyed by the San Francisco 49ers. And then the 49ers, after that particular game, everybody's already crowning the 49ers. They're going to be the Super Bowl champs. This is what it is. This is the team to beat. And then they lose to the Browns, and then they lose to the Minnesota Vikings. And I know they were out without Deebo Samuel, but it's the Vikings team that also didn't have Justin Jefferson. And then
they're 2-0 without him, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
And
maybe they need to trade him.
Hey, by the way, Jordan Addison is a beast.
Yeah, nice.
He's a beast. Yeah.
And then you look at the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, they were able to fight back and get their win last week, but then they lose to the same Jets team that the Cowboys took out back and beat like a dirty rug. So it's just parity. The Patriots, look at what the Patriots did. The Bills are struggling. Yeah, the Bills are an AFC contender, but they're struggling to get things going. So in the NFC, when you see what's going on, all you need to do if you're the Cowboys is show up week in, week out. You understand you're not going to win every game, but if you show up to compete every week, then you will always have a chance to win that particular game, and you'll win far more than you won't. And this Cowboys team is still a contender to me, especially, again, 49ers, 2-game losing streak. Now they're 5-2. Cowboys go out and win this week. Guess what they'll be? 5-2. You're right there in the mix. Detroit Lions. We made sure that we mentioned last week the Detroit Lions because they were playing very good football. Yeah. They went out and got destroyed by the Baltimore Ravens. Yep. It happens. Would that happen again in week 8 with the Detroit Lions? I don't think it will, but it's a week-to-week league. So all you got to do is show up that particular week.
There's one phrase that has always stuck with me that Brian said. The NFL is a strange lady. And every time something weird happens, I always think of you and that phrase.
Derek, we need to talk about a T-shirt deal for that.
Yeah, we do, right?
We can make millions.
That and Scout Fits.
The Scout Fits is another one. I think the thing about it is why I look at this season, you're going to play every contender. You've already played the 49ers. You're going to play the Eagles twice. You're going to play the Lions. You're going to get the Dolphins, and you're going to get the Bills.
In Buffalo.
Yeah.
And Seattle, by the way. They're in that mix.
You're going to see all the teams. How you navigate those games will tell you how you're likely going to get through the playoffs.
Yep.
Those are some of the best teams in the National Football League. So if you find a way to navigate, win those games, have some success, you've already failed the test against the 49ers. You don't need to fail against the Eagles. You don't need to fail against the other teams that we were talking about, the Detroits and the others. You need to find a way to win those games. And you need to find a way to be able to get confidence and create doubt going forward when you play those teams again if you play them in the playoffs. But I think you'll know a lot about your team by the end of this thing because of all the teams you're going to have to play.
Ironically, when you think of that, you're probably going to play, of the top, 8 teams in the league, you're probably going to play all of them except for 2. That's Baltimore and Kansas City.
Right. Right.
All the rest of them are going to be your gauntlet starting right after Thanksgiving.
Right.
Through the end of the season. It is going to be a murderer's row of teams. Now, the great part about that, if you want to get a great part about that is, like you said, Brian, you're going to find out real quick how good your team really is and if they can really compete in the playoffs.
I think you're going to have to make some hay here as we get for the next 5 because there are the games where it's Rams, Eagles. Okay, Eagles, Dallas plays the Eagles well. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. But then you got the other teams. You got Carolina in there. You got the Commanders in there. And you've got the Giants again in there. You can't stumble through that part of the schedule. You've got to find a way. If you somehow go to Philadelphia and win that game, win all those games, kind of sets you up for that gauntlet of run. But by that, if you win all those games, that means you're playing good football. Then when you get to the gauntlet, you're not worried about spewing oil, and it's going to be a struggle, and you might lose 2 of the games and like that. You still might lose the games, but if you're winning all these games and you're on a run, we see what confidence will do for a team.
But then you also need to make sure that, and I harken back to the game against Arizona, and I'm looking at the schedule here for the Cowboys going forward. Don't walk into Charlotte thinking that the Panthers are a pushover. Don't walk into Charlotte thinking, well, they're going through some things and, Bryce Young isn't playing well because of his lack of protection up front. Oh, we got this. You need to remember what happened in Arizona when you go into a place like Charlotte and Bank of America Stadium. So as long as they step up to, like Brian said, the next big test, you failed the first big test in a big way, which was San Francisco. And this is not to overlook the Rams because they're a solid team coming in here. You better mount up for them as well. But your next big test is in 2 weeks against the Eagles. That is probably going to, if you can get that win in Philadelphia, you talk about launching you forward, that could put you on a strong trajectory that maybe you go on a run in what Mike McCarthy calls the second trimester of the season, puts you in a real good spot in the event you have a stumble in December and you can still have time to recover and it won't have that much of an impact on the standings because there are other teams that are going to stumble as well. San Francisco is already doing it. Philly's not going to only lose one game this season. Detroit's not only going to lose one game. Just make sure you take care of the business you need to take care of.
Well, you know what I'm still holding on to? That part of hope is we haven't seen the best of the Cowboys yet on offense.
That's true.
We still haven't seen the offense click. And it's not a situation where you're just constantly throwing at CD. CD's not freaking catching the ball. That's not what it is. It's not the same thing with Brandon Cooks. You're targeting him. That's not what it is. Michael Gallup, it happened last game. Okay, that happens sometimes. Jake Ferguson, you're not throwing the ball, trying to get him. Oh, he's dropping the ball. That's not the situation. It's just it's not clicking. It's not. You still see them having those pieces. You still see them having that talent, but things are not just quite clicking in this new scheme, in this new offense that Mike McCarthy has put together. So that's kind of the hope that I'm holding on to. It's okay, this is what it's been, and they haven't been good, but they've gone this far. This is where they're standing right now. Imagine when, hopefully, they do start clicking and making things work offensively, and now you get to scoring more points and helping your defense out a little more throughout games. So that's kind of what hopefully starts kind of piecing itself
together.
Again,
huh?
Yeah.
She makes a good point. I mean, they're not firing on even half cylinders on offense just yet, and they're 4-2. And they're 4-2. So to your point, they're 4-2 coming out of their bye week, and we haven't seen the best version of the Cowboys on offense just yet. So I mean, what that has to give you some justifiable hope in saying, if they can get it going, I mean, they could go on a run. They could rattle off 3, 4, 5 game win streak to put themselves in a real good position to try to close this regular season out strong.
And I think the other thing to note there, even though the offense hasn't had the rhythm that you'd want, not only are they 4-2, but outside of the San Francisco game, the offense has moved pretty well 20-yard line and 20-yard line. It's not like the offense can't move at all. It's that they haven't had success in the red zone, and obviously in the San Francisco game, they got shut down.
Enough too.
They don't. But I'm saying, like, when you look at just overall, the problems are fixable. It's not like a situation where this is an offense that has nothing. Like, if you're the Giants, if you're looking at the Giants, you're like, our offense right now just has nothing. We can't do anything. We can't move, right? It's not that. It's that they haven't gotten it all to fit together. They haven't gotten it to a point where they can rely on something. In whatever the situation is, we can rely on the fact that we're going to be able to run. We can rely on the fact that we can go to CeeDee Lamb. I think that's the part that you want to see the rhythm get there, and you want to see them start figuring out who are those? What are those reliable pieces that we know we can do? It goes back to that conversation they were having about identity a few weeks ago. They don't have one right now. You hope that develops over time this season, and then you can get there. But being 4-2 with that problem, that's where you look at it and say there is hope.
And it's quality wins also, because for those that were saying, oh well, you beat up on the Jets. Okay, well then the Jets defeated the Eagles. Oh well, what about you beat up on the Patriots? And the Patriots beat the Bills, and you went and you beat the Chargers in Los Angeles. It's the same Chargers team that beat the same Vikings team that just handed San Francisco 49. It's the NFL week to week basis. So just come to play every week, and the rest will handle itself.
I think you have to worry about, because I think you could say the same thing about Philadelphia's offense.
Yeah.
I don't think they played very well. They're not there yet, I don't think they played very well, and they're 6-1. That's the thing that would give me a little pause.
That's very true. And I think that's the part where I was looking at them and I was thinking they were going to stumble at some point. Yeah. And the fact that they're not stumbling after starting the the way they have offensively, that's what scares me about Philadelphia.
They've had some games.
But they figured it out.
I think for them, and that's the key phrase. They're figuring out how to overcome some miscues. For example, Jalen Hurts, he started to turn the ball over, but they're figuring out how to overcome that. You're seeing Brock Purdy starting to turn the ball over, but the 49ers haven't shown they know how to overcome that yet. Going back to hope. Okay, well, if the 49ers can't overcome Brock Purdy doing late game interceptions, and if he's showing he can't play from behind, if you're the Cowboys, you're like, all we really got to do is handle our business, because when we get back to them, if we can play better football, maybe put them behind the scoreboard, now you have a chance to get Brock Purdy in situations like what Minnesota got last night with 2 late game interceptions that helped seal the game. So every team in the NFC has cracks in its armor, and this is going to get fun. Real fun.
Yeah, we're gonna find out who we're gonna find out who can solve those issues.
By the way, Jalen Hurts and the guy Allen are throwing a lot of interceptions. I want to get that out there right now.
Yeah,
we talk about Dak throwing interceptions. These guys are throwing an alarming amount of interceptions.
So I just want to get quiet.
I just wanted to get it out there.
They're like, you're being a fanboy. No, we're watching the game.
Other people are throwing interceptions. Jalen Hurts has thrown 8 of them, and your guy Josh Allen has thrown 8 of them as well.
And now Purdy has 3 in his last 2 games.
There you go.
2 of which were in the late fourth quarter with the game on the line.
People throw interceptions.
That's exactly what happens. All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. We didn't get to Lab Coat.
No, it's real quick.
All right.
11-5 is the number for Lab Coat. 11-5. Mike McCarthy in his NFL coaching career, he's 11-5 coming out of the bye week. Should have been 12-4, but overtime loss in Green Bay last year kind of stung that. But look at the silver lining. Look at the silver lining that drove change for the offseason. That guys like Brandon Cooks in here. No strays to a Noah Brown, but the upgrade. So 11-5. Cowboys fans can feel good about that. Mike McCarthy typically does very well coming out of the bye. So they just need to host this Los Angeles Rams team and handle business, get them out of here, and get on to Philadelphia.
All right, appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back on tomorrow. We'll start getting into the next game. Brian will have a breakdown for us, Cowboys versus Rams. Till then, for Patrick Walker, Brian Broaddus, Amber Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. It's been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!